Hey everybody, this is Heather. We're here with Messy on Purpose.
And this is Fylisha, and we're going to be talking with Lee today about his dating ventures.
Interesting.
The dating life in Las Vegas, and I think specifically about dating apps, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know all about it because I've never used one. So
I'm going to get some good information for you guys and for men and women out there. So
yeah, heck yeah. Especially for some of us that haven't dated since there was apps.
lucky you.
Like, I don't know what that's like, so I want to know all about your life, especially dating in Vegas. Like, the last time I dated, I was living in the Midwest. Let's be real.
Way different.
So, totally different life, different
Absolutely.
culture. And so
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself first?
I'm just a nerdy filmmaker guy. I met Fylisha. I was hired to teach a acting class, and Fylisha and Shandell, another person we know that she has acted with, she's an actress. You know, she doesn't claim to be like a lot of people do, but she really is an actress, and I really love her to death. And she helped me out a lot, and we've done a lot of projects together. She's been a producer. We're finishing up some things, a TV show that we did, or like a pilot. So we're going to see where that goes and takes us, and get that up on YouTube or somewhere, Tubi or something like that. Someone's got to see it because it's really good work.
seen it yet.
I know. I'll bring by what we have, which is a lot. It's mainly all there, but you're going to really laugh and really love it. Fylisha did a good job.
Me and Heather are going to watch it together. So.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny. It's really,
I don't
really
even
funny.
know what I'm getting into. Like,
You don't.
I was in it
Excited.
and wrote it.
Well, yeah. She wrote the whole full second episode, which we're not there yet, but it's just it's a lot of work. And people are always saying to you all the time, when is this going to be done? It's like, man, if you only knew the amount of work. And the people usually that say that are sometimes the ones that don't put in all the work. And we know because she was there every single day, myself and Marlon and her, and we did our thing, So, and Fylisha was the everything that made sure that everyone's getting there on time and stuff like that, and making sure. So she really did her job. I mean, on top of being an actress in it too as well.
Well, and then you got all the editing, which is the real work. Yes. And I know because I've been editing this stuff.
Yeah. It's a lot. So that brings up a question. How are you finding time, and is it more conducive for you to use the dating apps because you are so busy?
I think, and I just want to say that I don't want to come across as some, Mr. Whatever, because I'm not anything. I've been divorced for 7 years, and it's interesting for someone who's 53 like myself to be single. And I think that I heard something really great. You hear some really cool things on TikTok sometimes, and it said that people who feel like myself, I don't really feel alone because I feel like, I have, my mother, my family, friends and stuff like that I meet in Las Vegas. So I don't necessarily, when you need someone, that's the wrong time, because there's something inside of me that I feel like is broken, and I don't want to attach myself to someone else. Yeah. And that's not good for me to attach my caboose to somebody that's when I'm in a state of needing. Like I need to be in a relationship, and I don't need to be in a relationship. I'd like to be in one now, but I don't necessarily need to. But let's just talk about some of the fallacies and misnomers about Bumble and Tinder.
Can I
and all
touch
those
on
things.
something
Yes,
you
please.
just said real quick? Is I think the interesting thing about going through divorce, been through it, is one of the biggest lessons that I've learned after going through a divorce is sometimes we find like soulmates in other people, not just a romantic relationship, but like Fylisha, like you said, family. Yeah, like you really learn that you don't necessarily need a romantic partner to be complete. And I think when you find that wholeness in yourself, that's the time that you're ready to, venture out and start meeting other people, as opposed to like what you said when you're like, I need somebody.
Yeah, you're desperate. I mean, I don't know if I've ever been really desperate, but like I've felt like, I think we all feel alone sometimes when we don't have I think that when we come to Earth, we're here for something.
A purpose.
And I think my purpose has always been, I've done every job under the sun. I was a math teacher for 5 years. To some really rich kids who are fabulous and wonderful, from the Liptons to the John Lasseters to the Joe Montanas. I mean, I've taught all their kids. And I guess, being in that position, being 26, 30, and around that age, and being 53, I think I've learned, deeply that, my purpose is more important for me than anything else. Yeah. And that is loving on myself. Am I doing, I'm so afraid of not really dying alone, but more afraid of dying with purpose inside of me that I want to give to other people. Mm-hmm. And that's why I started, she's still on it. And I know we haven't done a lot, but I've been waiting for the time to we did a book together. She's done a lot of writing on this 400-page document, which is teaching people how to do filmmaking without having the expensive film schools. And I think that now we're in a place now, because when I get the iPhone, we talked about having the phones, but the iPhone 16, I think it's going to dedicate that. Well, Fylisha and I've been working on, we worked on she's been working a lot on it, and I've done some editing on it, but she wrote this document that we're kind of going back and forth, which is an online film school for just cell phones. Mm-hmm. And so I don't want people to die with their purpose or the thing inside of them. And I think that innately, when my dad took me in 1977 to see Star Wars in Presidio, California, when my brother was born, it just changed me. And I just love cinema. And I love helping people. And I've learned that throughout the years, like I'm really a teacher and a good mentor. Yeah. I suck at other things, but I'm really good at that.
Well, and something you didn't touch base on in your introduction is the fact that you help with like the film school here. Like you help with the schools here.
Taking interns
stuff
like that.
Yeah. He might not have kids of his own, but he's got a few mentees that are really like his kids.
Yeah. This is true. That's 1,000%, and I, like you said before, and going back to the divorce, if you can work on your relationship, try, because divorce is not like anything you've never experienced.
Brutal.
It is the most sad thing I've ever experienced. And my dad passed of cancer. I mean, that wasn't even as bad as me losing, my ex-wife. Yeah. And if you want to still be in a relationship and that other person doesn't, that's another thing too as well. And there's a lot of hurt that goes along with that. And I feel like I've dealt with that, I had therapy and stuff like that. And it was really nice to kind of really get back to who I actually was, as opposed to not setting up boundaries and stuff like that. So I think that.
So before we jump into like the dating apps and dating scene and all of that stuff, do you want to share some of like the experience with divorce? Like what led up to it, what you would have did differently maybe?
Yeah, that's actually,
Same with you.
It's actually very positive. I mean, I was very negative because I thought that, not that the sun set with me or anything like that, but she was a lesson for me to know how much I needed to be more of a man for myself. Because a lot of things that I think I fell down on. And there's a lot of pointing fingers going, what did you do? You cheated in this relationship, blah, blah, blah. But a relationship is a 50-50 if you're going to own it.
It's more like 100-100.
Yeah. I mean,
honestly,
you have to own your own stuff. That's what I learned with my therapist. And she will either own that or not, but that's not up for me to decide and to call her out on. So early on, when you're first divorced, for me, I was very upset and like, I'm mad.
Pointing fingers.
Yeah.
Attacking the other person.
And it wasn't her fault. I'm happy that she's happy. She's got remarried and stuff like that. But I was very upset, but how she treated me, I think part of it was a lot of gaslighting and stuff like that. And I'm not saying I didn't say a lot of things too that I really didn't mean, but I just feel like it could have been handled differently. I know how I ended the relationship is kind of how I started it. That can't be said for her. And that's what she has to live with. And I'm not saying that's shame on her, but I learned a lot of it. What I thought was her stuff was mine.
Yeah.
And like going back, what would you change? Like, what did you do that you see you could have done differently and it would have gotten a better result maybe in like the friendship and things afterwards?
I think for me, two things that I did that I was very proud of myself. I wrote these letters every year. If we were married, I'd write you a letter for your birthday and also on our anniversary, about a 10-page, 20-page letter, each like 40 pages, total, every year that I'd write about why I love you. And I had these in my hand, and we were married for 17 years. So you can imagine this, like, I had a lot of letters, a lot of pages, and I was so angry. And I called her because I was hurt. And I remember calling her on the phone. She was at work at her dad's winery. And she begged me, she said, this is all I have of you. Please don't burn these letters. And I didn't, you guys. I feel so good about myself because it's like, why?
I thought you were going to say you did burn them. I was like, no.
I did.
That's kind of where I thought it was going to.
I didn't burn them. No, I really am in love with myself that much to say that I was that guy because, it's really easy to practice a lot of this crap that we want to say, this woo-woo stuff like, you're going to be better. But when you're in the thick of things.
Hurt people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just said, you know what? It's got to stop. And I cannot do this to this woman because at the end of the day, she's my girl. I mean, and you remind me a lot of her because she's super outspoken, blonde hair, blue eyes, or green eyes. Carrie was crazy. She was a nutball. You think
she's
you're
just like Fylisha.
No, 1,000 times. Carrie was even crazier than she was, and she's crazy. No, I know.
But in a great way.
I'm a crazy though. I'm not a psychotic.
No.
Like,
And
I'm not
Carrie
going to
wasn't either.
destroy your shit.
No, she was fun. I mean, she was very fun and stuff like that. And we had a lot of. She's like my right hand person. Like she's my person. I mean, like when you're in love with somebody, she's my person. And so, and that's another thing too as well. When I got in some dating sites, stuff like that. Before we get into that. These women would say, well, why is your ex-wife, they would go down on my Facebook or whatever, because she's a part of my life.
Yeah.
Like it means something to me. I'm not going to just erase you entirely.
Yeah, you can't erase somebody that you've spent that amount of time
No.
with, no matter what.
Maybe or 2 years, but like 17 years. And then your kids, like I met them when they were 3 and 5 and rest of soul, Vance passed away, was hit by a drunk driver. They called me and I came back into the family again and everyone was calling me and I had to go deal with that. That was really hard, and that's really hard on her, I know, and I don't know what it means to lose a child. I mean, Vance is my boy. I mean, like, his middle name was Lee. I mean, like, I don't, because his grandfather, Richard Lee, whatever. But anyway, I love that child. Like, they were my boys. Like, if someone messed with them, they'd be down. Like, that kid said something to me, and he was like trying to beat me up. Where is he? Oh, hey, what's up, man? I roll my window down, and the sheriff's department, all my friends have played football with him. Lee, you can't make. I said, listen, I told him if he does it to my son, I'm gonna do it to him and his daddy. Trust me on this. So I come from Santa Rosa, so it's crazy out there. It's smaller, way smaller than this, like 200,000 people or 300,000. But anyway, I digress. It's hurt people, and I can't erase someone that's been in my life forever because I don't want to forget about those times that we had. And it wasn't all bad times. That's for sure. And so owning up to what I think I could have done better. I just don't know if I could have done anything better. I think I could have handled some things a little bit differently, but I feel like my crazy nature of how I am kind of a little bit ADHD and tad bit of anxiety. Yeah. Like just speaking super fast. I don't know if we were really meant to be together forever. And I think the universe put me, and I think that what it taught me was that when something's leave and someone shows you who they are, don't be fearful of the other side. And that was for me. I was like, what am I going to do? She takes care of a lot of these things that I need to take care of myself right now. And I don't really know how to. How do I do that as a man? How do I leave the situation? There's a lot of money here and stuff like that. And she wasn't money bags and things, but her dad was rich. I mean, like, so I lived a whole different completely lifestyle, with cars and stuff and things that I don't have today, but those were just things. So I think that on the other side of fear is where you find yourself. Immediately after when I was divorced, I moved into probably from that middle of the sign to here, I had like an office. And I took showers at 24 Hour Fitness for 2 years. I lived out of my office, had a bathroom there, kind of like this, go walk out the bathroom. And the guy, one of my really good friends, he used to work for George Lucas. He's a big time. He did all the visual effects for Fast 9 and Fast 6 and all the Fast and Furious and Maze Runner. And he let me, without telling his brother, because they owned the building, he said, don't tell my brother, but you can live here. And he was like, he really helped me out. So having a $500, a month office, and my car was already paid. Well, I had to pay $6,000 for my car off of her because her dad was like, this car was a gift, so you can't include this in it, because he's very stickler. And like, I can't fight someone who has $90 million. Guys, he sold his winery to his first winery to Robert Mondavi for $90 million. So I'm not going to try to fight him.
Yeah.
And when I left also too as well, I took nothing. I didn't take couches, they weren't mine to begin with. I didn't go after, she was worth a lot, at least 10% of the winery. So I didn't go after anything because you know what? I didn't work for that. It wasn't mine. Yeah. So when I left with my stuff. She bought most of the stuff in the house, stuff like that. She's made a great home and she's a wonderful woman. I just left with me, and that was very scary, but empowering for me. So
now looking back, was it like a blessing in disguise, or?
Yeah, I would not be in Las Vegas. I didn't want to die in Santa Rosa. That's one of the reasons why I made some pretty good investments with Elon. I told my friends, and I invested in Facebook when it was like $25. And so I made like 40 grand. And then I decided to, like, let me go out and move out here and see if I put some money into something. Cause our house, 1,300 square feet, was worth $800,000 in California. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do, more production stuff. So I wanted to, push way down everything that as far as money was concerned, and
Less
figure out
taxes here too.
Oh my gosh. And I bought a place for, like a nice little condo in Henderson for like $170,000 that went up 100 grand. But like, I love it. I paid $800 a month for my mortgage.
Yeah.
So I can still do the things that I really want to do. And I think that that's what will upset her, even though I did the job that she wanted me to do. I worked at Costco, was like a manager there. I worked at another place that was like Home Depot. Guys, I drove a lift, and I was the lift master. Basically, if you came in and you worked for
Like a fork truck? Is that what you're talking about? I drove one of those one time.
Big boys. But
I used to drive it at Sam's Club.
Yeah, I did them all, but I was a trainer too as well. So you can imagine me, Mr. Film Guy, I did those, lifted stuff and had, my little boots and stuff like that, and wore my Carhartt and all that kind of stuff, and had.
I wasn't that cool.
Yeah.
I had like a vest.
You're cool. No, you drove a lift. You're cool, so. But yeah, I've done
Actually pretty good at it too, by the way.
I had a lot of fun doing that, and worked a night shift, and but I don't know if I would have done anything that would have maybe helped her throughout, and I know that she went through early menopause, which is really crazy. I'm like telling women out there, if your progesterone and your things are messed up, normal Western European medicine is not going to see women that are, reaching that age. You have to go to another doctor. You got to kind of have some money. It's going to cost $800 or $900. And then you're going to see this wonderful, probably woman or man that knows about you and is going to balance you out. So a lot of things, I think she said to me a little while ago, no one's ever going to love me the way you did. That was like recent. I mean, I've talked to her forever. It was probably about 6 months ago, and that made me feel good, a little bit, because I never had any closure with her. I had to create my own closure through therapy and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. Carrie's a different, a very fun person, but different, and it's crazy to think that I was married like 7 years ago, because it feels like a whole different life, right?
Yeah.
I
was going to answer the question too, because for divorce, for me, I don't know that I would say it was a blessing. But I think going through divorce has a way of shining a spotlight on everything that, if you take it the right way, everything that you've done wrong. Because it's so easy to just like point your fingers, and if he or she had done this or whatever, but therapy, big part of it, taking a step back and looking at what you did or didn't do and why. And so I think going through divorce and just like you said, a lot of times when you go through a divorce, your financial situation changes, like the way you've lived, having a partner there that helps carry the weight and the burden of life, essentially. So I think that it was the most enlightening experience. I don't know if I would say it was a blessing, but it taught me a lot about myself and what I did wrong, as opposed to looking at everything that they did wrong. So that was the blessing out of it.
How long did it how long did it take for you to get to that like mindset?
Oh, I'm like still working on it.
Still working on it?
Yeah, because it's very easy to like harbor resentment or anger or any negative emotions. So to let that go and just focus more on your own healing journey and trying to be a better person and, fix the things that are innately wrong with you. Because like he said, you don't want to hook up your caboose to another train carrying all that same stuff. It's a lot easier to like move into a new relationship and hope that that person's better, but you're still carrying the same stuff that you were carrying back then. So
yeah.
And like the reason I ask that is because like I'm sure there's plenty of people going through the same thing, right? Like I don't even remotely understand because I've never been through it, and so that's kind of why I wanted to ask that, because it might help other people understand that it takes time.
Ongoing process.
It
I don't
really
think
does.
it matters if it's been 7 years or 7 months. Like you're still gonna have moments of, I think for myself, anger, guilt, like sadness. Because you don't ever get married with the intention that, like, I'm going to divorce this person.
Yeah.
You plant, when you say till death do we part, that's what you mean. But things happen. And like he was talking about, I think medical, like hormonal stuff, chemical stuff, and then mental health stuff definitely plays a role in it as well.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can't fix what's broken.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
deep.
sometimes it's too far gone.
Yeah, that's the thing too. I feel like, you know, there was some things that happened earlier on in our relationship that were, her sister had passed away from alcoholism, and, you know, her dad being who he was, you know, you can't really have that out there. So, you know, I think that she dealt with that too as well. And I knew Holly because, you know, I knew Carrie since junior high. I mean, we go that far. We never dated then, but like when I got back from college and stuff like that, that's when we started going out. But briefly, and then she got married, you know, to Jeff, you know, her first husband, and she had 2 kids with them and stuff like that. And then we met in between. And I will say this right now: how you start a relationship is how it's going to end. If you start a relationship where someone is kind of still married, and when I say kind of, there's no such thing as kind of. They are married. If they are still married, don't mess with them. Just wait, because how you enter a relationship is how it's going to exactly backfire. Even if you're a great person like myself, I mean, like I am a really nice person. We'll get my mama on here and she will know. And I know that moms say that, but like you know, I love my mother, you know, to death. And she's taught me so much about how to be in this world, how to treat other women, how to not look down on people, how to have a nice, you know, happy smile on my face. I mean, she puts a smile on my face when I think about her, because she is just a dope ass woman. You know, she really is. And she just gives me a smile every day. And I talk to her as much as I possibly can, trying to get her to move out in Vegas. And she's been thinking about it. I said, listen, you got some time, but you're getting up there. And, and I can't tell her anything, you know? So I'm like, girl.
On a whole like other track.
I'm
like,
sorry.
We got off the topic real bad there.
But it's good. I'm sorry. I will bring it back.
Moved to
We're gonna get mama out here, you know.
Yeah, we get mom out here. But anyway, but it's still about relationships. And it brings me to the whole thing about feeling like less than, and then you start to attack this dopamine that is swiping. You got to swipe to the left, to the right, up, down, whatever, around in a circle. It doesn't matter. It's just, these apps are built for you to never meet. Maybe I'm just saying that because back in the old days, when Yahoo Personals came out, and we call them Yahoo Pornsenals, because there was no, you guys.
Wait, back up. What is that? Because I don't even know what Yahoo Personals
Yeah, so
is.
Yahoo Personals was the I know, you really are. This is like I would say, I remember the time when it came out, because JoJo, she was little, she came out with like Leave, Don't Get Out. I remember JoJo. That's when like dating online kind of started. I mean, I was still in Spain. I was in Barcelona, lived in Barcelona, and that's Match.com. Oh.
This is what happens when you grow up in the Midwest. You don't know any
Yeah,
of it.
It's like Craigslist,
Yeah,
but
but it
like
was
for dating.
cleaner. Yes.
Craigslist for dating?
It was dope. It was really, it was fun. Trust me. No, and I want to say,
That sounds scary.
Probably
No, it
better
wasn't.
than the way dating
No, it's-
sites are now.
Really?
Yeah.
yeah, I there's sites now, because everybody has, you know, you get shut down. And I want to say something really cool. You could literally pick the type of woman you wanted. Like I went out some really cool dates. You could really, I mean, they can't do it now because of trans community and stuff like that or whatever, because people could get sad. You know, I'm Generation X, so I don't get sad and bump into things. And, you know, we just about died.
You're not allowed to have preferences anymore,
You can't.
which is
So
absolutely absurd.
So the preferences is you could literally pick.
You
and
could filter.
I could say blonde hair.
Yeah.
I could say double D
Yeah.
breasts if I wanted to. It was
Height,
C, and I
like
could,
they'd have a
height.
weight
Yes,
range.
you could say height, and you could have boobs on there. You could say I'm picking big boobs, and that's what I want, and that's all you would see.
You act like it's like any different. You just look at the photo and you swipe left or right. You
No,
know
but
what
it's
I
not.
mean?
It's
Like,
not the same because it's,
oh, no blonde hair?
no, I know.
Oh.
But it takes
No boobs?
no, but you would get like
No?
it would
I don't
come
know
a lot
which one to
faster.
switch.
I don't either. I was like,
Left is bad, right is good.
I'm just like,
Yeah, and there was no swiping.
for loser.
that makes sense.
There's your mnemonic. There it is.
Sorry.
No.
She'll
Go
never
ahead.
forget it.
Yes, I'll never forget. Left the loser. She's like, Lee, I'm sitting left. No. No, it was just a different time. I mean, I think that with time, things don't necessarily always get better. They're just different.
I
And
think that actually started with College Club. Was like the
You're right.
first site
Okay.
that it was like you could put in like your location and you'd like chat with each other. And I
Yeah.
think that was like the start of dating, online dating.
I
absolutely.
didn't even know any of these existed.
Oh my gosh, that's
So
back in the
interesting.
day. I'm
Back in the
giving
day.
my age away
Yeah.
big time by
Big
saying
time.
College Club right now. But I think the thing now is we're such an instant gratification society
Right.
where we want what we want right now. And also we're a society that thrives on like attention from social media, posting up our pictures and stuff. A lot of people that, in my opinion, my humble opinion, I think a lot of people that are on the dating sites online, they're just looking to get attention. It's not even about making a meaningful connection. It's like how many, let me go on here and see how many people like me, how many people are gonna like swipe right.
No,
I just want y'all to like my stuff so I can make some money on social media. That's really it.
Exactly.
When you join, for a lot of the female, and this is what I've heard, talking to women, is there are women that go on and join the dating sites, and it's more to get their followers on social media or to promote OnlyFans or whatever they have.
I never
going
even
on.
thought of that.
No, 1,000%, because I know they'll say, this is my Snapchat or whatever. And then the Snapchat changes from, oh, cool, I'm talking with this person. And then it goes, hey, daddy, okay.
Instant, like,
Can you go to my OF
flag,
or whatever? And then the OF comes from there, which I don't mind, women, doing your thing and making money.
Do your thing, but be upfront about it.
But don't take me through the maze and say, oh, here's my Snapchat, here's my number. And they go, hey, I'm not sure. Or here's my IG. You can see more pictures of me. And then they hit you with, hey, I'm OF or whatever. Okay, well, that's cool, but I don't want an OF person right now. That's not what I'm looking for.
So that's common on like the dating apps, is like
1000%.
people doing that.
Yeah.
So it kind of defeats
It's
the
like a
whole purpose
promotion.
of like dating, right?
That's what I'm
Like,
saying.
It's
Is
not.
I feel like there's a big margin of. I'm speaking for females. I don't think men are on there. I think men are more
nobody's. I mean,
No one's
they
perfect.
are, but
Maybe
they're
looking
not
for-
really doing OnlyFans like
possibly
women
looking
are.
for hookups and stuff
Right.
like that, but they're not pushing another agenda. Whereas I think there is a large margin of females that are joining dating sites to push
Yeah.
a different agenda, not
Absolutely.
to actually find a meaningful connection.
And that's a
Yeah, that would make it
generalization.
hard.
I wouldn't say everybody, but I would agree to say, since I've been on there for such a long time, not always on there, but every single time, oh, I got like a hit or something like that,
Yeah.
I'll swipe or whatever. But on top of the fact that you mentioned that there's an agenda, there is, and I'm not saying all females have that agenda, but I feel like there's a great deal that are in Las Vegas, and it doesn't have to be like Midwest. I could probably find a really awesome female. Okay,
I will speak.
I'm not saying. I mean, I'll be
I don't
within
think
reason.
my sister would get upset at me. She's in Mississippi, and I know she's done some of the online dating stuff, and she has met some really amazing people where they've developed friendships and stuff like that. But we're also talking about small town Mississippi.
Exactly.
We're not talking about Las Vegas. So
It's a different.
I think it's a
different here.
demographic.
Yeah,
thing.
especially from Cali too, as well. Like me being, from Santa Rosa, California, 60 miles north of San Francisco. It's a different animal being probably to date there. But the problem is that I live in such a small city. I could be the mayor. I could literally, if I want to be the mayor, I could be the mayor. Only person I couldn't be was a guy by the name of Kevin Springer. The guy's phenomenal. But everybody knows
Kevin
me.
Springer.
Kevin, hey, Kevin Springer is the guy. I mean, like,
Shout out Kevin Springer.
shout out to Kevin Springer. Trust me, that's a good shout out, because everyone just started adding like, we know Kevin. Everyone knows Kevin. And in my small town, it's like I could be mayor because I know everybody. I went to went to grade school there, went to junior high, went to high school there. So played football, basketball, all these. I know everybody. I know the sheriffs, and the sheriffs are guys I play football with or whatever. So I know everybody, detectives and stuff like that. So
Well, it's also hard to date like when you're in like a smaller area because like
everybody was hurt.
at this point,
Yeah.
I've
There
dated
are
you. You've dated
Yes.
her.
that's
he's
what I
dated-
see when I go home.
Yeah.
Like when I go back to the like Iowa, like everyone's dated everyone, and if they haven't, they've probably messed around. It's just
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
gross,
Exactly.
Like, and at some point, you get a little wonder how much incest is going on.
Yeah, you're
and,
like,
or something
I've
weird.
slept with everybody in this town
I've
just
seen-
because I've slept with these two people,
Yes.
and they've slept with everybody,
Right.
and they've slept with
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah. Luckily, my number's very low. Like, but they, I've seen like the husband-wife swap.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Like, it's just it's small towns.
You don't have a lot of options. You're
Yeah.
fishing in a pond
Yeah.
as opposed to like an ocean.
And like
So-
here is like an ocean because
Yeah.
people are from all over the world.
Yeah.
Like you have so many options, but at the same time you have all the nightlife. You have a lot of people, their careers are in like
Entertainers.
yeah.
entertainment and things like that, and that makes it a little harder, I would think, to date.
It does.
So with that being said, is there any, because you said you've been on the dating apps, do you feel like there is some that are a little more legitimate for people that are actually looking for, somebody to date.
I think Match is pretty good. I think Match.com is pretty good. I think Coffee Meets Bagel is a really nice and safe.
Heard of that one?
Yeah. Coffee Meets Bagel is a really safe one, because people have to, like not earn, but they have to spend money. When you have to spend money, I think we have to spend money. Yeah.
How does that work? So like on these dating apps, you have to spend money. Like what does that mean? Like what do you have to do?
If I get someone swipes right on me and I'm not paying for Tinder, I have to pay like $19 a week in order so I can see their picture.
What?
Yeah, or it's
I didn't
blurred.
know that.
Unless I swipe on you accidentally. So I see your blurred out figure. So I'm really good at squinting my eyes and looking at your photo, and I go, "That's
I like it.
Right, yeah."
Yep,
No,
I
but
like
I can
it.
see. No, I can actually see the real picture of Heather when I'm swiping. But if she's like me, her pictures is dulled out, but I'm getting so good now, and I'm sure people have. You can kind of squint and go, "Oh, that's her," and I swipe, and it's a match, and then we can talk for free. But if I've got a bunch of matches, which I don't have a lot of matches, but if I've got a bunch of matches, I can pay $19.99 a month, or $29 a week, and then I can see, and then they show up, and then I can say, oh, then I can swipe there and then like them. But there's also the other side of it too as well, that there's people that are not posing as people that they're not who they say they are. And that's where
Like
the Nigerian...
catfishing, or like they're using other people's pictures.
Yes.
Or...
These men are using pictures of women trying to lure these men who are desperate. And I'm not saying, I'm not there either. I'm not saying these guys are bad. I'm saying we're lonely. So if someone's talking to us, that is awesome. It's like, oh my God, you have a pulse and you're female for me because I'm hetero. Great. I'm just trying to clear that up. Just people like, you hate people that are trans. I'm like, no, I don't hate anybody. My brother's gay, whatever. But anyway, so there are people from other countries and places, and what I learned is that people would start to say, because they thought I was like someone that's trying to cheat somebody. So this other dude who's posing as a female, he would type in he would just nonchalantly said, hey, and he would type in ALAYE, Alaleye, or something like that. And I looked it up. I finally looked it up because people would say that. And it just says, hey, brother, are you like me trying to scam other people? I don't want to waste my time. That's what it means. So in passing, so I just started saying it too. And I was afraid, I'm like, oh my God, this is not a female right now. I gotta get out of here. It's crazy.
And can I get my age away again real quick? Because I thought you were going to say ASL when you said type it in, which was like,
what's going on right now?
Back in the day, you would type in like on Yahoo or whatever, ASL, age, sex, location.
Oh, I was really young when that was going on.
Yeah.
Because I remember we used to go on there as kids and go, so.
But see, catfishing started way back then. We pretend we were different people. But I know the scamming is really big.
Especially in Las Vegas too as well. And that's another thing too as well. I think that, as far as dating, I met someone on an alternative site, and she was, I don't think it was.
Wait, what's an alternative?
No, I don't want to say.
Back up. What's it was
like a.
Let's keep it like
Yeah.
PG-13, but an alternative site.
It was like an alternative lifestyle, not like swapping partner, because I didn't have a partner, but like more of like, hey, do you like being tied up? That kind of site or whatever. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. This could be interesting.
So for like kinky stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
But I'm not. I was never about that life ever. And this girl's like,
let's try it out.
But no, I was like more like interested. Like, well, maybe I could find someone in here. So I actually found someone. She was really, really nice. She was Mormon, which that wasn't a bad thing. She was amazing, but I don't know. She just had this thing about me, and the interesting thing that I learned from her was like I was never really a jealous person, but she was polyamorous, and so I dove into that world. And she's like, okay, you're my only partner that I'm seeing as a male, and I like females too as well, but I have this other guy that I see and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, this is weird for me, but it kind of was perfect for me at the time. She liked the same things that we liked. We did dinner and stuff like that. So I really learned a lot about myself, about what I could put up with.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting. And then she said, if this goes further and we really, really like each other, we got to stop. I'm like, okay. So I was kind of liking her, and she started liking me, and it stopped. But it was like 2 years, so it was nice for 2 years.
That's really, a long time.
I know it was a long time. It was kind of like a relationship. She said, but the biggest thing was that I was too old for her. Not for her, but it's too old for her to tell her about the parents. The parents knew about me and stuff like that, but I was just way too old for her. So she's like, why can't you just be 30? I'm like, because I'm 53.
Because I wasn't born at that time.
I didn't know that mattered with Mormons.
Well, I don't know if it does or not, but I think for her parents,
So her parents weren't more concerned about her having multiple lovers as opposed to like somebody.
Well, I don't know this. Well, also too I'm not going to say too much, but I don't know. Back in the day, I loved this girl named Michelle Nissen in high school. It's like, Lee, she was, she was not allowed to see black.
Shout out to
Michelle.
But she wasn't. Well, she dated my other buddy or whatever, but she was never allowed to really date black dudes because, she was Mormon. But the Mormon, I don't know when the church changed, and people can correct me and stuff like this. It's not about Mormons. I love Mormons. I love people.
Was there a problem with like interracial relationships?
With her parents, I think that there might have been. But with her, she's like, all my sisters need to know what chocolate needs to taste like because trust me, Lee, this is awesome. I'm like, this is great.
God damn.
I'm trying to keep it PG. I'm just saying.
That was pretty cocky right there.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that this was,
Lee's like, you don't know what you're missing.
No, I didn't say this. This was she said.
For Lee.
She said this.
He is single.
No, she said it, you guys. I've never been like that, but she said,
That's
my sisters need to know.
On his dating profile is you need to taste the chocolate.
If you haven't tasted chocolate, you need to taste a little bit of chocolate.
That's now the new tagline.
Yeah. Taste the chocolate. But but I learned a lot from her in this relationship, not being, and I think that maybe going back to my other relationship, maybe I was, because she said, I was never controlling. I'm not a controlling person. That's not inside of me. But I feel like me being a little bit jealous, but she was, man, I tell you. There's slapping dudes on asses and stuff like that, and Fylisha has a lot of guy friends, but we all have, Fylisha makes a distinct, this is our relationship.
Boundaries in place. Yeah.
Care Bear did not.
No.
Not
Care Bear.
Yeah, nobody's slapping me on the ass and I'm not.
No, but she's slapping other guys on the ass.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's disrespectful. That's what I'm saying. And so she's always like.
Being disrespectful can bring out somebody's jealousy. And then if you're turning it around like they're controlling because.
Right.
I'm doing something
that's gaslighting.
Triggering them.
And so that's what my triggers are. And I got out of my triggers, through my therapy and stuff like that, my triggers were phones. Mm-hmm. My thing is that when I get into a relationship, I'm not going to request it, but like, here's my phone, no code. You need to be able to live with my phone anytime you want to.
Me and Justin have the same password.
That's what I'm saying. But that's relationship goals for me. And I figure when you said, I'm just bringing back a little bit, and I didn't get a chance to say this. I think our morals were different. I grew up in a very steadfast, if we said, don't do that, and you're telling me you're not going to buy something and you go and put it on a credit card later, and then you ask for forgiveness, it's like, why'd you do that? We talked about this.
Because
if you didn't like what we
it's
said.
easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission.
Absolutely. And that's our morals.
But should you be scared of your partner so much that you can't ask?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Like that's an issue. That's something that needs to be brought up, and that's
that was
something
my
that needs to be fixed because I don't have that issue.
No.
Like half the time I ask permission and he's like, why are you asking permission? And I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know, because I grew up like this.
Yeah.
But
it's respectful.
Yeah.
And you guys share money together, stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah. And if we talk about something and then you immediately do exactly what you wanted to, why did you ask me in the first place? Which is fine. Mm-hmm. But that's what upset me and enraged me a little bit. Why I'm like spinning my tail, like we're having these conversations and I'm looking at her and she's understanding and nodding. And if you don't like what I'm saying, it's okay. We're not going to fight. It's just more of a discussion.
Yeah.
It's a conversation. So me setting up boundaries is what I learned, I think, in that relationship. Me moving into a new relationship, if I ever have one, would be to set up boundaries that work for both of us.
God, that is so important, I think.
Yes.
From the get-go. I think in the dating world, and I'm just discovering this too, is like, because when you have been in a marriage and you know this person and like you figure the things out, like you don't have to question anything about Justin. You already know how he is, right?
Oh yeah.
But you're dating somebody and you decide to get serious with them, especially at this age, like where you're not in your 20s anymore. You've been through some life stuff. It's like, you were raised differently than I was raised. We might have different cultural beliefs, religious beliefs. Right. So from the get-go, it's so important to kind of set those boundaries of something that I might be okay with is a trigger or disrespectful for you. So let's set those boundaries right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that it's easier to date somebody with a similar background? Because I do find that helps in like my marriage, because we both come from similar backgrounds. So like we can relate on things. I mean, we grew up in the same area. We, you know, grew up kind of the same like level of income that, you know, lower middle class. So like
How old were you guys when you got together?
we were in our 20s.
Yeah.
Like I think I was like 25.
You're still in your 20s now, so.
Yeah, still in my
she
20s
is.
now.
So they haven't been together that long.
No, I'm just.
But I think when you get into your like later 30s, 40s, 50s, there's not a lot of people that have similar, because you at that point have had so many life experiences. I feel like I've lived 20 different lives in my life.
More what I'm getting at is like the extremes, right? Like you have to have like some kind of like common ground to understand each other.
Right.
And like if somebody comes from this like a good example, Lee, I don't know where you started off, but like your marriage, like she was very wealthy. Like if you were not,
My parents,
that's kind of harder to.
No, we were. My parents had money.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like you know, those two like extremes,
Yes,
right? Like you don't
exactly.
like understand their lifestyle at all in that sense.
Right.
Rather like that's kind of different than like building something together or something along those lines. I don't know.
No, you're
I'm
exactly
just
right.
wondering if like what you guys think on that based on like your dating now.
I think you're right. I mean, I think that a lot. I mean, even though my parents had money, not like like Richard. I mean, like, she would. Do you guys get $10,000 for your birthday?
Oh, I wish.
I mean,
hello,
you get-
everybody out there. I have never received $10,000 for my
She gets
birthday.
$20,000 for her birthday. She gets $10,000 for Christmas.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, so that with
I want
that
a card.
I know.
Like a card's cool.
Say I want a card that says "I love you, baby." With some food.
Somebody gave me that much. I'd be like, no, that's not gonna work.
Happy to hear happy birthday.
Yeah, I know.
Gosh.
Yeah, exactly.
How about some food?
I will say, I think on that end, I think something that is current, not to get into details or anything, but I think currently one of the biggest obstacles or things
I
that
know
you're
where you're
looking
going.
for is like the same stance like politically and against like current events in the world.
That's
Like,
kind of
do
where
you
your
stand?
values sit,
Yes.
right? Like your values have to be kind of the same.
Yeah.
Not even just like the same backgrounds, but like definitely your values and your morals, right?
yes.
Because if you're in two different places in
It
beliefs,
becomes very difficult.
yeah, like you would clash on things with your kids or just money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
general,
you have one
like-
person who believes in getting every vaccination and you have another one that is totally against vaccines.
Yes.
That's going to be really difficult to meet in the middle. Those are the kind of things that it's like,
Yeah.
And like, so you have kids, you have an ex-husband.
yeah.
How do you navigate those when you have difference of opinion? It's because it happens.
We have differences of opinion
Yeah.
on what our stance is on different like medical treatments and stuff. And thankfully, I will say for my children, they're of the age now that
can choose.
I feel they should make the choice of what they want to do. But when they were younger, like, yeah, it's difficult because if you strongly believe what you believe and you're not willing to bend and the other person is the same way on the other side,
Yeah.
what do you do?
It's tough.
So that's really something that needs to be taken into consideration. And I feel like that's become a bigger deal recently in the past few years than it was, because my oldest is 21. Like there wasn't really issues as far as like his medical choices for him back then. Now, it's a different story. So we're on two opposite ends as far as that. And he gets to make his choice because he's 21. So
Wow.
Luckily, I don't have kids, but I mean, me and Justin are
we
on
would
like
be
the
on
same page
which
because
is
we have
important.
yeah.
Yep.
You really find that out like through like the whole like 2020 and
Yep.
COVID and all that stuff. Like a lot of things came to light. Like there's people that like
I hate you.
clash.
So is
Not
that
hate.
something?
I don't hate, but
Yeah.
like I differ enough from some people that I have to distance myself
Yeah.
because I just can't like we're not going to
Your
have
values don't align.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that something that you have seen like in the dating world?
If I can get to that point, because sometimes you get people that swipe on you and then they don't say anything. I'm just like, what is this about? Why did you even swipe on me first? And I swiped and we matched. So obviously you could, but I think that for me, as you guys are talking about it, that is a very important, element for me. And go back to your thing that you said before, Fylisha, which I think I'd much rather have someone that knows me a little bit better, that's in the field, that's an actress or a director or a cam person that knows my kind of like quirkiness and lifestyle, but what I deal with, on a day-to-day basis of being a business owner.
They can relate.
Yes, I think that's very important for me now. Because when I think about it, men die much sooner than women do. I've got like 25 summers left. If I'm being, I'm just saying, like, if I'm going to be 78, and if I'm lucky, 80, but like I got like 25, 26 summers left. So like you said before, at this age, for me, my age, it's serious, but like I have to know that I can't spend, I'm not going to spend time arguing with you.
You don't want to waste time.
No, I don't want to argue with you.
Time is precious.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of time. Like I'm already, a lot of people, I'm already more than halfway done with my life.
I just said that recently. I was like, I don't have time to waste.
No.
Like, we don't know how much time
we
we
don't
have
ever, but
when you get to a certain age and you start realizing, like, all right, we've passed, we're coming down this way. I don't want to waste time on nonsense. And I think that's why it's a lot more important in the beginning to kind of talk about the boundaries, the values.
Yes.
Do we align on this stuff? Because I can hang out with you and we can have fun, but if we get more serious and we don't agree on things, I'm wasting my time.
So that being said, when is that conversation to be had? So you go on a first date.
right.
Do you really bring it up then?
No.
Or is it 5 dates? Like, what do you think the perfect timing is to talk about that?
Well, if you can get to a fifth date,
Time. Yeah.
if you can get to a third date, like you're doing really great. Like most of the time you get to 2 dates and I think that everything's going great. Either I get ghosted or I feel like I'm a meal ticket or something like that, and I'm super nice and understanding and I love eating myself. So it's like, the best thing I can do for a female and give her a great conversation is like take her out somewhere nice. If she's a foodie like me, we're going to eat some great food. So let's enjoy ourselves.
Do you find that it's probably harder because of the type of people that you connect with when you're in like Vegas specifically?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I think there's good and bad people everywhere, but I think there's a lot more bad people. There are good people that are in Vegas, and I think the people that Las Vegas
I
were
wouldn't
really
call them bad. I would say like
not my speed.
a little bit more like not serious in the dating, or maybe like a little bit more of like the what's in it for me kind of people.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's exactly it. Someone
I just don't like the label.
No, you're right. It's all relative
not
anyway.
Necessarily bad.
It's not right for me.
Yeah.
But I think that if I can get to that, I think that if someone does, I think a lot of times people just don't want to be vulnerable. And they're always, the first thing they always say is, I don't want to be hurt again. I'm like, girl, let me tell you something right now. If I had a nickel for every time somebody said that, myself don't want, you think I just want to go into being hurt? But that's about, are you ready? Now that's my next question when I tell a female, I'm like, when you say that, are you really ready to be in a relationship? Because anyone who knows we've all been hurt. So we've got to deal with that. And it's just like, people always saying, well, your pain is not as great as mine. You know what? Trauma is trauma.
Yeah.
And if you
subjective.
It's all bad. Me seeing my father die is not it's maybe the same as your cat die. It's the same. I don't want to judge it's not a judgment about who's got more pain, because guess what, sweetie, we all have pain. And we have to deal with it. And as humans, that's why we're here together. Let's spend some time together and see if we can make this work and not have this ride be as painful as it should be.
Well, a lot of people sit and think that their pain is so much worse than others. And
That's
it's a very
exactly it.
selfish way to look at things. Like, everyone goes through stuff.
Exactly.
Just because I don't talk about it doesn't mean my life is perfect.
Right.
We just talked the other day and said, I think I said to you, anybody that's been alive for a certain amount of time has gone through trauma.
Exactly.
And
all
trauma's
gone
not
through
always
trauma.
bad. We all develop because of the traumas we go through.
Oh, absolutely.
And as long as you do it in a growth mindset, like, you're going to get something good out of it, even though it was a horrible situation.
Absolutely.
I agree.
That's my marriage. In a nutshell, I feel like me being driven, and I think that she was put in my life to learn some lessons that she taught me that I would never learned if I was never married to her. And that's not a bad thing. It's an absolute amazing thing. The first thing I said to her when I had even talked to her and spoke to her, I said, thank you. For what? I said, thank you for teaching me how to be a better person in this life. I really appreciate all the things we went through. I will never negatively ever speak about you in a negative light ever. Like, you helped me through a lot of stuff. And even though I know it's in a roundabout way and how it came out, I'm okay with that. I really am. And I will always stick to that, because you're right. Anthony Robbins, who I love to death, his dad was such a bad person for him. And without his father, he would have never been Tony Robbins, who we actually know him to be. So our hurt and through our pain creates something amazing out of that, and who we actually are. And I'm appreciative of that, Care Bear did that for me. It stinks when you're in the middle of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But, if you can look past that stuff and say, what is this about me that I need to learn?
And that's a great discovery too, I think, is that when you figure out that relationships in general, friendships, family, or romantic, not all of them are meant to last forever. Some of them are just for a chapter in your book, and it is to teach you lessons. Yeah.
It's called impermanence because when I was with this other person, the polyamorous person, it was eye-opening, and it was, impermanence is basically that nothing so good, good or bad will ever last forever.
Yeah.
And with that, knowing people and relationships, you take this new thought process, which is, I want to treat you the best I possibly can because I don't know how long I'm going to be here in Vegas with Fylisha and with Heather. It means something to me. So I live every moment, I live every moment. I don't let anything pass by. And then thinking about all the stuff that we did on this television show and all the laughter we had, and like looking at you going, what the hell's going on right now, Fylisha? Like, let's get this shit done, Lee. I mean, just that, in itself, just with people, it's like that is, part of my life. And I think that's part of my gift too, as well, to look at things differently and to tell people, man, hey, stop playing, be grateful, period. If you don't know nothing in this life, and you're total, I don't want to say the word I want to say, but you're a total ass. Just be grateful for everything that's coming across your plate right now, because it doesn't have to. And I try to look at that. And when I look at your daily things every day, I know that when I look at your videos, just walking and taking a walk and, personally or whatever you're doing, or someone's in traffic or whatever, you're grateful for those moments. No, I mean, it comes across
random thoughts.
No, it really is. But it comes across as great. I mean, grateful being in nature. A lot more people need to walk and get outside of the house a little bit more. And I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for your stories and looking at your TikToks and stuff like that. It's just wonderful. It's great.
Something that really helps too is like, if you start to go down this like negative mindset, like do 30 days of gratitude. Every single day, think of something, journal something, post something that you're grateful for. And I can tell you right now, it'll shift. Totally. It'll shift because now you're being grateful.
Absolutely. Nothing happens out of not being grateful. Everything happens, and your life starts when you can look at your life and say, I'm grateful just to have 10. Somebody woke up this morning, you guys, with cancer. Somebody woke up this morning with 3 fingers, completely mauled out of their minds, and just all this kind of.
Some didn't wake up.
That's exactly it. So what do I have to be mad about? That's what my healing was all about. And that journey for the last 3 years has been about, which is, what are you mad about?
And if you're constantly doing something to improve yourself, when do you have time to think about the negative stuff?
You don't. You're right.
Because I can tell you right now, I don't have time. I don't have time for it. I just walk away. Oh, that happened? But how many times have I told you, I was like, you can tell me stuff. I'm probably going to walk away and not remember any of it. Your secrets are safe.
Yeah. Fylisha has no vault. She doesn't need it. She just forgot. She's like Memento in the movie.
She takes stuff in and she just.
Short-term memory is like cool,
right
and then
back
it's
out.
Gone.
I have a question just
Yes.
to get back to the dating thing real quick, because I know we've taken a lot of time, but why did you turn to online dating as opposed to the conventional, going out meeting people?
Okay, that's great that you say that. I love that question, because I tell a lot of the young guys, when Unc is talking, someone who's above 40, you need to listen. A lot of these guys, and I look at their relationships, and I hang out with a lot of these younger guys, my mentees, because they become friends over the last couple of years, and they're like my friends, and they look to me like a dad and like an uncle or whatever, like a grown ass uncle, and I just go, you guys, I know there's a lot of females surrounding you right now, but treat them with respect, because at some point, as you get older, when I was 25, hey man, what's going on? Man, women were everywhere, because that's what happened when you're young. And as when you get older, your circles are so small.
It starts to dwindle.
You don't meet, everybody's kids, I haven't talked to, it's just.
Do you think that too, though, is because of standards? So your standards kind of change. When you're younger, you'll date, the dude that doesn't have stuff together, or the girl that just because she's pretty, but she doesn't really have anything to her personality, right? Doesn't that change?
At this age, a lot of people are married or in committed relationships, or they have children,
kids, yeah, and they're like
businesses, and they don't have the time to date. Like when you're younger, you're
she's got like both you guys. If you guys are like 20-something years old, and I'm 20-something years old, I'm hanging out with you guys because you guys have 5 girlfriends that look exactly like you. Even if you have Justin or whatever,
there's a whole group.
You guys got a harem of females that are around. And as you get older with kids, like no, I got to go to my boy's game today because he's playing, he's hooping out, he's running touchdowns right now. So mom's out there doing her mom thing, and she might have a girl. You're a girlfriend for real, but like. She doesn't have any, it's just, and I think women hold relationship different than men. Men have a lot more guy friends, and women are like really a lot more.
I will say, like when I was younger, I was surrounded by a lot more like girlfriends.
Right.
Yes. And like it's gotten smaller.
We like that. Exactly.
Hi.
That's what I'm saying. That's what my point is. So when you reach a certain age and stuff like that, it goes like this. I'm like, well. How many friends do you have? If you had friends, you'd be like, Lee's cool as hell. Like.
Hey, how many times have I told you I was like, I wish I could set you up.
I know, but I don't have any friends. Yeah, exactly. So you have Justin's friends, but I'm not gay, so it's like Justin's cool as hell.
He ain't even got that many to be honest.
Yeah.
Like
Justin's busy
with other responsibilities, and it's like your free time that you do have. It's like this is valuable to me. So what am I going to spend that on? Like I was going to say, there are women that are. Out there single or whatever, but they have their night off. They want to be watching Netflix in their pajamas on their couch. They're not out going to Blue Martini trying to meet the next guy. So I think that narrows down the dating pool. And then you have people that are just completely like bitter and don't want to have anything to do with the relationship.
I do think too with like technology and all of that stuff, it makes people more introvert too. So like now you don't have the people going out and doing things because now I have anxiety if I get in public.
Social anxiety.
Yeah. So like that probably affects it too, right? Like you can't just go to the bar because...
And I don't go to bars. I don't drink. So, I mean, I'm not a bar person anyway. So I don't gamble. I don't drink. So that's not the type of person, another woman that's on TikTok, really awesome. She's like, if you want to meet the person, where do you like to go? I want to go to the gym. I'm going to meet a gym person. So I go to the gym. If I want to meet a bar person,
but the gym's hard too, because now you have all the girls that are like,
I don't approach anybody. Nope.
I don't. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't approach anybody at the gym because I know the rules.
I'll talk to anyone at the gym, but
I know. I know the rules. You just don't go. If I was a female, I'm like, would you want if you're really working out, would I want someone approaching me? No, probably not. So we all.
I can say like I get approached and like not even like creepy or anything, but like every time like the dude's like super cautious, like giving you a compliment, but like I'm not a creep. Like I mean I'm married, so I don't really care. But like it's just like I've experienced how like men have to go about it in the gym, and it kind of does make it a lot harder for them to like approach women. And there could be women in there looking, but like they can't approach them without being creepy.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I want to like backtrack a little bit is I think social media, there's studies that show it has done the exact opposite, where it's made us a lot less social as a society because we're used to just grabbing our phone and logging on there, and you can portray whatever you want to portray on social media. But another thing is like what you're talking about. One, it's very difficult, like out in the wild, so to speak.
That's a good way
because
to
there
put it.
are people that are psychos that'll be like, this guy's a creep. Like you see videos on it where the guy's like, I wasn't even looking at you.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? So it's hard to know if you can approach somebody. And I think that's why the online dating is so popular. And also just like you guys were talking about, like if I had somebody to introduce you to, I would, like where you're meeting people through your friends and stuff, because it's really hard.
That's social. That is social.
Yeah.
When someone's like, you know what, you'd be great for my friend. And you go out, and you just have an outing or whatever. And you go, I think she's really awesome. Or I think he's a really great person. But that doesn't really happen as much as it used to anymore, because the times have changed immensely from this, what we call social. Nothing social about social networking or Facebook or anything like that. It's the exact opposite, as you said. And one of my students that I taught, Tristan Harris, he made a documentary that most people saw that was, basically saying that if we took a handful of really good devs and really changed the outlook about how social networking should work, we really would become more social. But like, there's no clans anymore. Like men would live in clans. If someone did some weird shit to excuse my language, but did something weird to a little girl, we'd break his legs and put him on ice and the polar bears would get him. We can't do that because we got all these people on keyboards now and we don't know where they live. So we can't hold men accountable for their actions with females or little boys or all the sex trafficking and things that are happening. There's no, that's where we're at right now. There's no clans anymore. Like you said some weird stuff, we're going to break your nose and you're going to pay for it. And back in the day, you know, what we created in Gen X is that, you know, the whole term F around and find out.
Yeah.
Well, we did, because guess what? If you said something and you were a dude and you came up, I'd ride my BMX bikes and with my boys and we say, yeah, we heard you were talking smack. Oh, yo, you know, Lee's going to come get you, man. Well, what do you mean Lee's going to come? You said X, Y, and Z. We'd find you. That's what the term comes from. Gen X. We were them.
FAFO.
We did come and find you, you know, so, but there's none of that anymore because people live behind their phones, you know, and there's nothing social about
Keyboard
that.
warriors.
Yes. So it's just interesting, but yeah, no, this has been a great talk for me, kind of therapeutic as well, as well. It's been really nice. But I mean, just to say, guys, just be careful on online dating, men or woman, you know, it's just, you know, nobody wants to meet. I want to go back to that. Nobody wants to meet and have coffee. Coffee's a bad thing. Coffee means you don't have any money. Coffee means you're broke as a man. Well, coffee means
Coffee seems like a great idea to me because
a great idea for
there's
me too as
no
well. I don't know you.
expectations.
Why do I want to spend money on you?
Yeah, we're sitting down in public where there's other people around.
Yeah.
Like, we're not spending a lot of money. There's not a huge commitment. Like, you feel safe.
Yeah.
If you don't like each other, you go your separate ways.
That's my point.
Hey,
But
Michelle.
but people would always be like, you know, what, you broke or something like that? I'm like, no, I just don't know you, so I don't want to spend money on
$200 on you when I'm just meeting you for the first time.
So ending this.
Yeah.
Just because you guys are both in like dating scene, I'm not, so I can't give the advice.
Right.
But what's one piece of advice you guys would give someone?
That's a good question.
I would say the piece of advice I would give to I'll give females a piece of advice and you can do the males. For females, I would say, well, it's going to be more than one small piece of advice, but just be true to yourself, know who you are and what it is that you bring to the table as well, instead of having all these expectations of what you want a man to bring to the table. You should be whole and bringing that into your dating life, as opposed to bringing something that's broken. And then just be authentic and be who you really are instead of selling an image of something else.
I absolutely love that.
See, that's what I would say as a man, but I would say there's two pieces of advice. I would say people who are under 30, go back to what you just said, be yourself. People, you know, above, you know, 40, still be yourself. Be authentic. If you can't be your authentic self, you're not ready to really be dating. I mean, I know that there's young stuff and the youngsters are going to do their young thing or whatever, but
the youngsters.
I mean, like people like in their 20s. I mean, like I would just say, just be.
That's when you get to be young and dumb.
Fun in your 20s. Go out there and have fun and live your life.
I say the same thing too as well. I say don't be tied down to a relationship if you're under 30, because I feel like there's a lot of women and a lot of men that try to see their oats much later, and they're feeling like, oh, I never had that chance.
Tied down at an
early age.
Yep.
That's my advice.
It's so
if you're under 30, don't be in a relationship. I mean,
learn who you are. Yep.
Yeah. That's great advice. And always be authentic.
Just in general, be who you are.
You're
not for everyone, and that's fine.
No, it's exactly it.
But the ones that I'm for.
Exactly.
Hey.
I'm not for, like, a lot of people don't like my personality. I'm a little strong, right? But
we love your personality.
We love it.
The ones that do.
Yeah,
love it.
Exactly.
You know? So be you.
No, I think that's your 100. I mean, there's nothing. I don't see anything different from you or from Heather. It's just that who you actually are and who you both are as females. It's like I really enjoy that you say what's on your mind. That's the thing. If I could give advice to women, which I'm not trying to say I'm giving advice. Please don't have us try to think, because I know for a fact that you don't do that.
Actually,
you don't do this to Justin ever. I don't have to try to figure out if you're mad at me. Just tell me.
Sometimes.
Well,
okay,
maybe.
He knows I'm mad, but not why.
That's when she's PMSing.
Right.
She's like,
that's okay.
Then later I'm like, sorry, I started my period.
That's okay. But just say what you want. We can't figure out what you need or your necessities without you being quiet, you know, like, and I want my woman to be like, I like this, I like that. I mean, that's okay. And if I can do that for you, I will definitely do that.
Well, and I'll tell you, like, I've been with Justin for 10 years. And in the beginning, I wouldn't do that, right? That's a natural thing that women do. We bottle things up.
We want you to read our mind.
Yes. We think emotionally. And through the years, obviously, like working on ourselves and stuff, I've been more like open and I just say what's on my mind. And sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't, which is fine.
Right.
But I will tell you, it's 100 times better in the relationship if you're just open and honest than bottling that stuff up. And so that's something that I've learned in the time that I've been married, that like, you just have to say it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I do that now with everything, and that's not
great.
always a good thing, but
Well, you can't harbor and carry, like, you know, the perfect thing I saw on like TikTok and the other things. The guy had a bunch of weights and he grabbed one weight, and you know, you lift weights all the time. He grabbed one weight, said, I'm really angry at you, and I'm going to keep this weight in my hand. It's a 25-pound weight until you apologize. And then he gets into another relationship. You didn't apologize. He picks up another weight, How many more weights until we get weighed down with ourselves that we cannot move because we are waiting for someone to apologize and we're holding and harboring resentment?
Yeah.
that goes to grudges, which is going to be
Yes.
a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
But you don't hold on to that stuff, because you hold on to it, it only affects you. It really doesn't affect anyone else.
Unforgiveness is drinking poison and expecting it to kill the other person.
100%.
So to wrap this up, I don't know that we actually even really talked that much about online dating. I think we got a lot out about the divorce and the healing process, but relationships are a complicated thing. It would take a whole lot longer than one podcast to kind of dive deep into.
And it just
that,
means
right?
we're just going to have Lee on again.
Man,
Oh, darn.
I'll leave.
Yay! I made it, you guys. I got my calling.
We
Perfect.
really enjoyed it. And to anybody that is watching or listening, if you guys have any questions pertaining to dating, relationships, or even online dating, send them our way. Maybe we can hit them in the next episode.
Yeah, all for
Or
it.
any comments that you guys.
We're messy on purpose.
We are messy on purpose.
All right.
Awesome.
Wrapped up.
Nice. That was awesome.